Hi, I'm Jake Bird. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I was born and raised there. This is my first year at the University of Tampa. I'm a student athlete here. On election day, November 5th, I was in Tampa, Florida for the entire day. Um, I had a physical therapy appointment for a minor elbow injury that I had due to swimming at a 2 o'clock practice until four. At 4 o'clock, I had a music class, and during that music class, I received a phone call from my mom. I didn't answer because I was in class, and then she texted me asking if I had my driver's license on me, and I said yes, and sent her a picture of the front and back part of my driver's license. I asked her why after I got out of class on the phone, and she said that someone had voted under my name, signed my name, and that the clerk said that someone had used my ID to get in, and maybe that I had my ID stolen, or that I had flown in to Kentucky to vote on November 5th. Now, this is obviously not true. I was in Tampa for the entire day, 2 classes, a doctor's appointment, and 2 swim practices. So obviously a little bit mad about that. It shouldn't be happening, especially in Kentucky where we have voter ID laws. But yeah.
Hello, my fellow Kentuckians. My name is Aaron Gillum. For more than the past 20 years, I have professionally worked in the information technology field. For the last 10, primarily working on secure systems that host and exchange healthcare information, financial information, personally identifiable information, serving as an architect, as an implementer, as a support person, as someone that does pretty serious analysis on some pretty complex data types that move back and forward between these types of systems. I am a cynic. I scrutinize everything to the nth degree because that's my job as an analyst and an engineer is to do those kinds of things and ensure as close to perfection as I can in the things that I build professionally. Now, outside my professional context, outside any political context, not with the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, not representing any candidate or with intent to alter any kind of outcome in an election, I was approached by some people that I think very highly of for my professional guidance on what has happened in our most recent elections. And that was set off by the video here. So all of this seems minor here. You have a CNN broadcast during election night. You have one candidate's vote tally go down, another one goes up. It seems minuscule in the scheme of things, but when you start questioning where that came from. How does the news network get that data? From the point in time where you put that ballot into the machine and it waves the flag back at you, and that data gets tabulated and combined with all of the other information and uploaded to the Board of Elections and then counted so that the media is reporting on that. How does all of that happen? What is keeping all of that in check and duly verifying that the system is accurate? The most reassuring thing I found through this whole process was speaking with our county clerk's offices. When you sign in to vote and you give them your identification, and when you cast your vote, those are two separate counts that are happening in that room at that point in time. Everyone that walks in get counted. Everyone that voted get counted. Everybody has to line up. If those two counts don't line up, there's a discrepancy, and they go through a process there to find out where that happened at. After the elections, they're pulling these machines out once they're allowed to touch the information and saying, give me a random race, give me 3 random machines, completely pick these things at large, at random, out of a hat, and let's count the paper and make sure the paper matches the machines. And mind you, it takes some time, but I'm assured every time they have gone through the motions, that works. I have the utmost confidence that our local boards of elections, that our local county clerks are going through their due process and validating these things everywhere they can. There is personal stake in this. It is something that these guys are pursuing very passionately, and that attention to detail is deserved at every layer of the election process. But from the time that they upload this into the Board of Elections information point, it is out of their control and in the control of the Board of Elections, who, where the concerning part of this is, has elected to outsource all of this. Now, I didn't know this, but when you go to the Secretary of State site and dive into the Board of Elections, when you go to retrieve this data, you will find it redirects you to a website outside the state of Kentucky government confines. And it's not just outside the government website confines, it's actually going out of the country. This is a voting software conglomerate that seems to be offshore completely. The servers that are hosting all of this information, also cloud-based presence that are offshore completely. It turns out, in looking into this, the software that is being run on all the voting machines, on the machines that are uploading, the process of uploading and going into this cloud-based, these are all things that are owned by this third-party conglomerate that is offshore, that is not directly accountable to you and I, the voter, that is not necessarily directly accountable to the Board of Elections other than the contract for this software that we're running. So that would lead me to raise the questions of, okay, as an engineer, I want to dive into this. I want to be able to trace Aaron Gillum's vote from when it went into the machine to when it went into the cloud and how it shows up on that results page. Is there a mechanism in place for me to do that right now? Probably not, and it may be an unrealistic expectation because we can't disclose to everyone who you voted for and it's nobody else's business. But from a Board of Elections standpoint, a level of transparency to show the logs of this voting machine was here and it was synchronized by this voting officer here, and that data was uploaded into the cloud here and those values matched exactly here. That seems like a fair expectation. And without presenting the logs and that level of transparency, do we have reassurances that the same level of detail that our county clerks and our election officials and that everyone at the Board of Elections on the local level is paying to making sure that these things are accurately captured, is that happening on the back end as well? I believe that we deserve as much. I believe that there's a path forward for that, and that's to reveal this process and peel back the layers a bit and have some transparency to understand and explain justly to the voter how this has transpired, how all of these things are accumulated and counted, and how we're duly verifying all of that's happening. That's what I'm asking. I ask you to join me. Go to the Secretary of State website, go to the Board of Elections links, take a look at what comes up, take a look at the data that's there. In a short time, I was able to identify 4 discrepancies that should be mathematically impossible in a system this complex. Would appreciate your time in joining us and calling on the Secretary of State and the Board of Elections. We need the transparency here. We need to understand what's happening behind the scenes. We need the logs to understand where these votes are going, how they're getting there, and what's happening to them once they're out of the care of our election officers. Thank you for your time.